Taking a look now at what's going on in the River Murray Netball Association, and as per usual, I'm joined by Hannah Lollo, who's going to give us all the info we need. How are you going, Hannah?
Yeah, great, Dan. Great to be with you this week.
It's great to have you here. Now, let's start off with the Imps and the Ramblers, and unfortunately, it's a bit of a theme of this week. There weren't really any close games, so this one was a blowout. Imps 72 over the Ramblers 32.
Yeah, it was, and the first quarter set this up for Imps. Imps had their week off, and they came out absolutely firing, and in the first quarter, I think it was 24 goals to 2. So when you're that dominant, that's a real team effort. The mid-court pressure, goalies were shooting well, and it just continued from there. So Casey D. Michelle played a great game in goals. So from that first time they encountered each other, that margin grew out a little bit, as we thought it might last week when we looked at this game.
Yeah, light work for the Imps there. So they stay undefeated without too much hassle there, and the Ramblers still searching for that second win for the season. The Southern Suns also had a big win, 66-23 over the Coorong Cats.
Yeah, last time these guys had met, it was only 24 goals. This time it turned out to be 43 goals, the difference. Olivia Clark and Taylor Dabinet, the defensive combination from Suns, just far too good. Cats really struggled to get it in. A valiant effort by Captain Holly Hughes to try and bring some respectability to that team score. Certainly Suns far too dominant.
I think Holly Hughes is getting an honourable mention in these Cats losses pretty much every week here, so it's good to hear she's putting a good season together, even though the Cats are struggling to get some wins. Yeah,
she's... I'd be backing her for the Cats A-grade best and fairest if we could bet on them.
Gamble responsibly, of course. We'll move on to our next game, Mypolonga. Also, again, a big win, 56-34 over Jervois.
Yeah, and so again, like last time these teams had met, it was only 14 goals, blew out, another a 22-goal difference this time. Mypo just strong again all over the court. Their mid-court pressure amazing, and Jervois, despite good efforts from, again, their normal performers in Courtney Afford, just couldn't contain Mypo from that big win of 22 goals.
And our last game for the round, the Mallee Storm over Tailem Bend. This one a little bit closer, but still pretty comfortable for the Storm, 46-34.
Yeah, it was comfortable, and it was an awfully cold day with the wind blowing across that peak oval to the courts. For Storm, they had a fill-in goalie this week. Abby Paik was away enjoying some football in Melbourne. They had Leanne Fraser who filled in, and it was really amazing to watch someone who has played at a high level come into a team and took a quarter to settle and then just directed play around the ring. It was impressive to watch someone walk in and make such a difference. But Shaylin Paik, the coach of the team, played a great defensive game. For Tailem, Tilly Hughes battled really well in the centre with Kiara Paik. It was really good to watch. And the interesting thing of this day was Storm have done a bit of a mentoring program with their coach, Shaylin. Shaylin's a playing coach, and they've had a coaching stalwart, a legend of the game, Judy Greenwood, who's been coming up to do some mentoring with her. So she was on courtside and also helping Storm during the day from a coaching perspective, which was good. But yeah, they were too strong for Tailem. Tailem just couldn't get enough balls through that ring, and their rebounding, they just couldn't get the rebounds either when they missed. So well done to Storm.
Yes, well done to Storm, and that's great to hear about that coaching mentorship. We know in community sports it can be very tough getting volunteers in the form of coaches and umpires and all sorts. So any little bit that will keep people involved in the game is always a positive. And it was Manham on the bye this weekend, so they'll be back in action next week. And it was a bit of a quirky fixture on this weekend just gone, because we had the bottom four teams who let's face it, they're the bottom four by a long way. Tailem Bend in 6th, the 3 full games behind Mallee Storm in 5th. So those bottom 4 teams all playing teams from that top 5. Unfortunately, none of them playing against each other, which is where we do get some tighter contests, but we should have them playing off in this coming week in round 11. So we'll start off with Manum, who are back in action this week, and they're taking on the Coorong Cats at Meningie.
Yeah, so I think they'll have a joyous trip home from Meningie. They'll probably, a bit like Imps last week, they'll come off a bye and I would imagine get a pretty strong win. Last time it was a 32-goal win, and I'd expect to see something similar this time round.
And we've also got Mypolonga hosting the Imps. So top of the table clash here. This one should be a great game. The Imps are still undefeated. Can Mypo be the first team to knock them off?
I think they could be, but I'm not going to pick it this week. But I think if anyone loves netball and you're free at 2 p.m. on Saturday, head to Mypo. It will be a fabulous game. It was only 4 goals the last time they met, and I think Mypo was still settling with some new combinations. So I think it'll be 1 or 2 goals in this. I think Imps will still get it, but happy to be proved wrong and say so next week.
Yeah, that was a great game last time, and it was an Imps home game last time, so maybe the home court advantage might get Mypo over the line this time around, but we'll be watching that one very closely. No doubt will be game of the round. And then we've also got Tailem Bend hosting the Southern Suns, so they'll have their work cut out for them on their home court.
Yeah, they will. I think defensively the Suns will have this. Last time it was a 29-goal difference. I think it will be closer this time round, but I am expecting the Suns to continue on their merry way of winning and, probably a pathway through to finals in their first year in the River Murray Netball, which should be great.
And with the Ramblers on the bye this week, that leaves our last game to be between Jervois and the Mallee Storm at Jervois.
Yeah, now this will be interesting because I do believe Storm has one of their key players in Robin Lehman, their captain, and leads well on the court. She's away for a few weeks. So last week they filled in with a great shooter for another person out. So it'll be interesting to see, and I haven't been able to get word off the ground who they are going to use this week. That could make a difference depending on who they get to fill in that team. Last time they met, it was only 6 goals. Even though there'll be a fill-in, I think Storm will probably still get there over Jervois, but just depends. Skyisha Ribney and Courtney Afford may make a difference. But yeah, I'll pick Storm.
All right, that should be a good game, a good chance there for Jervois to take a bit of an upset win home with them, but we'll wait and see what happens. That's all for our round 11 action. Hannah, thanks very much for joining us. We'll check in with you again next week. Enjoy the netball this weekend. Hopefully there are some good games for you.
Will do. Thanks, Dan. Chat next week.